Gerald Sanchez along with Jeff Power here from Austin's Disch-Falk Field, the Class 3A state semifinals for the UIL Baseball State Championships. This is going to be a fun matchup here with Sweeney and with the West Trojans, who both are no stranger here to the state tournament.
No question about it. In fact, one of the top players you're going to want to watch out for is OU commit Colby Carpenter. He can not only pitch really well, he's picked up 40 wins in his career for West, but he's also got 49 home runs. That is a career record for home runs in Class 3A. He is definitely the player you want to watch out for when it comes to West. Now, both these coaches realizes when it comes right down to it, it could come down to pitching, it could come down to defense, or just timely hitting, as you always see here in the state semifinals. We caught up with both coaches to discuss what could happen. We're here with Sweeney head coach Scott Carter. First of all, Coach, battle-tested all the way to the end. Tell me about your matchup with Columbia. West Columbia took you to the wire. You had a couple of one-run victories against them.
West Columbia is an outstanding ball club. I mean, we knew going in all year long that it was going to be good. District 29 3A has been real competitive. You know, our kids know their kids, and it's always a lot of fun when we get together.
Is that what you think this team needed, a good test right before you get to the state semis?
Well, yeah, I think, you know, we needed an opportunity to see good pitching, and that's what we saw. You know, they have two of the better pitchers in the state, and Will McKinney and Seth Romero, and they did a really good job of keeping us off balance, and we have to focus, and our kids know that now. We had a couple of games early on where we hit the ball really well, and you get a little lackadaisical about not seeing good pitching, so we had an opportunity to see it, and I think we'll be okay.
Colby Carpenter's on the hill today for West. He's got 49 home runs on top of that. You ever seen a more complete player than him?
You know, to be honest with you, I don't know who Colby Carpenter is. I haven't seen him. I'll see him play today. I'll tell you how complete he is today. I have no idea. I mean, that's the honest truth. I've heard a lot about him. I've read a lot about him. I know he commands 3 pitches. Plays shortstop, signed with the University of Oklahoma, and holds a 3A record for home runs. But other than that, I haven't seen him. We want to watch him play, and we're going to throw the best we got at him.
So you know a little bit about him.
Yeah, well, okay.
Very good. All right, Scott Carter. Let's send it back upstairs to Gerald.
Hi, Mom.
How you doing? Hey, Mom.
Corey Beckham, the head coach of the West Trojans, and just moments ago, Jeff Power also caught up with the head coach of the Trojans.
We're here with Corey Beckham, the head coach of the West Trojans. First of all, Coach, tell us a little bit about just getting here to Disch-Falk Field. You guys have been through some trials and tribulations, but probably your matchup with Lubbock Cooper might have been about as tough as it gets.
Yeah, well, I mean, we feel like this is about a 3-year process for us. We've been really close the last couple of years, and we've had some heartbreaks along the way, but this year we got it done, and there was some tough opponents we had to come through. Burleson Centennial was a very tough opponent, and then obviously the Lubbock Cooper game, and that game was a war between 2 really good teams, and either team could have won the game, and we came up on top 7-6 in 8 innings, and it was a 1-game series. And so I believe that made our team really tough, and that propelled us into the regional finals against Andrews. And we had some a test there too. We went extra innings with them the first game, came back from a 6-2 deficit and won 7-6 in 8 innings. And then the next game we came out and swung the bat pretty good and won 10-5. So our team's battle tested, and that's a good thing for us.
Colby Carpenter, he's your slugger, 49 career home runs, new 3A record. Tell me about him and what he means to your team.
He's won over 40 games for us on the mound. He's pitching today, so hopefully we make it one more and he can hit the ball over the fence. As you stated, he's a team leader as well, though. I mean, he's a tough kid. He's a competitor, and he's propelled our other players into getting better and better each and every year. And credit goes to him and Mason Paxton, our other senior captain and leader. They've done an outstanding job for us. 4-year starters, and they're the heart of this team and the backbone of our team, and we're very proud of them.
Corey Beckham, head coach of the West Trojans. Let's send it back upstairs to Gerald.
West leading it off. There's a swing and a miss. As the starting pitcher, Kaler Chafin for the Sweeny Bulldogs, a left-hander. He's a junior. And the leadoff hitter, Travis Johnson. Beg your pardon, Colby Carpenter, the leadoff hitter, and boy, this kid can hit, can he, Jeff?
Chafin is a lefty. He is 12-0 as the start of this year. More of a control pitcher. He's got a curve, changeup, good location.
And that's what it's going to come down to. I mean, if you can throw strikes and give your team a chance, obviously, to win. And that's what it's all about, as Chafin has a pitch that stays high. And the game's first batter is a full count, Colby Carpenter.
Yeah, Chafin's pitched 60 innings this year, 95 strikeouts.
And also a really good walk-to-strikeout ratio.
Yeah, only 22 walks so far this year. And as I mentioned, more of a control pitcher. Not going to have a lot of strikeouts, but does a nice job, and he's on the mound for the semifinals. Enough said.
Just underway here in the first game. Bobbled by the third baseman, Radke, but he makes the play.
Yeah, fantastic job right there. That's what you call sticking with the play. You've got to make the effort. He saw that he had dropped the ball right up the top there, but quickly bounced right back and made the play. That was Josh Rickers over there at third base, doing a fine job.
You know that they got to be nervous. A little bit of jitters out there, and perhaps Richter's right there, just a little bit nervous. But that's the way the game starts, a 5-3 as Carpenter is retired. Here is Dylan Yannick. And Yannick fouls it off over to the right side. Defensively for the Sweeny Bulldogs, 31 wins and 2 losses. Chafin is on the mound. Corey Simpson is behind the plate. The 0-1 on the way.
We got a chance to talk with Simpson earlier, and he's going to the University of Houston. As I mentioned, he does call the pitches. Usually at the Class 3A level, the coaches will call the pitches, but not in this case. Simpson calls the pitches and does a fine job. Only a junior, I might add.
The 0-2 on the way, and that one stays a little high. And the thing about Simpson is that he was a former third baseman, and he is one of those guys that can play anywhere, kind of like a Craig Biggio type. And he is behind the plate here. The 1-2, swung on and missed. Yannick is the first strikeout victim for Chafin. That's the second out of the inning, and so the game has started with Chafin in control of the first 2 hitters against West.
That's going to bring up Mason Paxton, but so far so good for Chafin. The lefty looking pretty good. He can also hit as well. He's got a .356 batting average. We'll see him up at the plate here in just a little bit.
Paxton out of the 3-hole, takes a pitch that stays high, ball 1. Trevor Rowlett at first base for the Sweeny Bulldogs. Michael Farrell at second. Jordan Lemus is the shortstop. Josh Rickers is over at third base. Travis Johnson in center field, flanked in right by Kyle Klutz, and in left by Austin Boyd. Count of 2-0 here to Paxton. I thought that Chafin might have had a pitch that was a strike called. He thought so too, but it is a count of 3 balls and no strikes. Just underway, top of the first inning. And that's in for a strike call.
Both of these teams with 31 victories so far this year, but West has 8 losses. Sweeney with only 2 losses this season.
And 6 more games played for the West Trojans, who come out of Region 1. That is going to fall for a base hit. Paxton gets the first hit of the ballgame.
Yeah, nice piece of hitting right there. Moves that ball into left field. That'll bring up Holden Sikora.
Designated hitter, number 3.
Pitch was on the inner half of the plate. He just kind of pulled his hands back and dumped it in there. Sikora, designated hitter. Two-out single by Paxton. The lead at first base. West, like we said, out of Region 1, 8-3-5A is their district. They're hitting leading off the ball game. Sweeney is out of Region 4, out of 29-3A.
Yeah, in fact, West has the difficult task of having the defending Class 3A state champion in their own district, Kennedale.
Yeah, Kennedale beat Waco Robinson, which somebody's still around. Swing and a miss to throw down to second base, and that is going to go into center field, where Paxton is going to go to third. The throw, not in time.
Yeah, Paxton slid in kind of awkwardly into third base, but he looks like he's okay, but he's going to walk around a little bit and shake it off. Nice heads-up running right there, though, taking advantage of the play. See, the throw was a little off target there by Simpson. Paxton able to take advantage and move over to third.
Give him a stolen base, and then an E2. Error by Simpson. And the Trojans are going to try to score first in this ball game here in the top of the first inning. With Sikora, their cleanup hitter, a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pitch fouled off. Dish Falk Field. This has been the home of the state tournament. It was the home of the state tournament completely until 2001 when they moved north up on 35 to play some of the ball games at Round Rock's Dell Diamond. That's a beautiful facility. This is a really nice facility as well. Ball is hit off of Chafin, but he'll gather it and throw on to the first baseman, Rowlett. Sikora retired, and so are the West Trojans in the top of the first. No runs, a hit, no errors. They strand a runner after a half inning of play. West nothing, and Sweeney just now coming into bat. They go to the bottom of the first inning, and it'll be the Sweeny Bulldogs now at the plate with Colby Carpenter on the mound for the West Trojans. And this is a really, really, really talented ball player that we're watching here with West on the mound.
Yeah, Colby Carpenter, I mean, what can you say? 40 victories on the mound in his career for West. And on top of that, how about the 49 home runs in his career, which, of course, is a Class 3A record. I mean, he has been sensational. Threw the no-hitter against Centennial early this year in a 1-0 victory in the postseason. Has thrown 3 no-hitters throughout his career. Obviously he can hit. Super Syntex Player of the Year a couple years in a row. He's just been fantastic.
Travis Johnson, the center fielder, to lead it off. And Colby Carpenter's first delivery is a fastball on the outer half of the plate. That's a strike called, and the bottom of the first is underway.
Yeah, Carpenter's got some good heat, loves to nibble on those corners. Off to a good start.
Jacob Reibel is his catcher, and the count is no balls and 2 strikes. Johnson leading it off, followed by the shortstop Jordan Lemus. Corey Simpson, the catcher, hitting third for the Bulldogs. Into center field and up the middle. Good job of hitting by Johnson. He didn't try to do too much with it, just go right back up the box.
Yeah, nice piece of hitting right there, right up the middle to get things started. So both teams already with a hit each. Colby Carpenter will have to kind of shake it off and regather himself. Said he likes pitching out of the stretch, so we'll see if he feels comfortable on the mound here at Dish Falk Field. In case you haven't been out here to the Dish recently, the little different turf setup.
Ball 1 here to Jordan Lemus. Yeah, it is that new turf that they play on, but there's no dirt. It is, you see the dirt, it looks like dirt, but it's actually just a rug.
Yeah, the only dirt on the field is the actual mound. Everything else that you see is some formulation of artificial grass.
Lead at first by Johnson. A leadoff single put him there. Showing bunt is Lemus. The right-hander delivers. It's up the first base line. Carpenter, the throw to the first baseman, Evan Eubanks. A sacrifice bunt. And moving to second base is Johnson.
So Lemus doing his job right there, laying down the perfect sacrifice towards first, getting Travis Johnson over to second base. Good opportunity right there with the runner in scoring position with just one out.
Corey Simpson.
Let's go and get you set up with your defensive lineup. Out in left field, Coy Shear. In centers, Dylan Yannick. In right field, Justin Cepeda. At third is Ryan Radke. Mason Paxton is at short. Alex Barton at second. Evan Eubanks over at first. Colby Carpenter on the hill for West, and behind the plate, Jacob Prebel.
Corey Simpson, the catcher. Count of 1 ball and no strikes.
Jacob Reibel behind the plate has done a fine job this season.
And right there, just on cue, blocks the ball, make sure that doesn't go to the backstop, and holds Johnson at second base.
You know, 48 players in the Class 3A level signed on to play either with college teams or even with some professional teams. It's an amazing stat right there. A lot of talent at the Class 3A level.
Well, Corey Beckham gives the instruction of the intentional walk, and they're not going to mess around with Corey Simpson, as the number 3 hitter in the lineup for the Sweeny Bulldogs takes his stroll to first base. And so the Bulldogs with runners at first and second, and there's one away here in the bottom of the first inning. Interesting strategy very early in the ball game, Jeff.
Yeah, we're going to have a pinch runner too, it looks like. Dylan Casper will pinch run over at first base, but Simpson is such a good hitter, didn't want to take a chance of him driving in the run, rather put him on base. We'll see if it pays off.
And it is outside to the left fielder, Austin Boyd, as Casper, the courtesy runner. And in high school baseball, a pitcher and a catcher, if they reach base, they can be substituted on the base paths for a courtesy runner. Fly ball into center. Yannick going back. It's over his head. This will get home the first run of the ball game. Travis Johnson scores from second, and the Bulldogs lead on an Austin Boyd RBI double.
Nice job of hitting right there by Austin Boyd. He really unloaded on that one. Some 380 feet out to center. Boyd just really got around on it quick, as you see the instant replay here. Nice piece of hitting. He winds up at second.
Ball was left over the plate. And Yannick, who is not playing deep, you can see obviously it went over his head. So the intentional walk leads to that. Now it is Kaylor Chafin, the pitcher, a chance to help his own cause. He takes a strike.
Yeah, that intentional walk now sitting on third base. That's the gamble you take. The Sweeny Bulldog lineup is loaded offensively.
Sweeney has won one state championship in their school history before in baseball. It was back in 1985. You have to go back 27 years. So Chafin, count of 1-1. These young men weren't even born then. 85 seems like yesterday, Jeff.
Yeah, both these teams making their second appearance. West, the last time they were here, 1999.
Foul into the first base dugout. There's so many interesting stories, and we'll go into them as the game progresses about the years and so forth for both these head coaches, Scott Carter for Sweeney and Corey Beckham of West. Throw to second base, and getting back in there safely is Boyd.
Colby Carpenter with that throw to second. Always dangerous when you have a runner on third to make that throw. Not advised.
Hits a breaking ball on the right side. Eubanks will flip it over to the pitcher, Carpenter covering, but a great job by Chafin, the pitcher. Puts the ball in play with less than 2 outs, brings home a runner from third base. Simpson scores courtesy runner. Casper scores.
And that's what you're looking to do. Hit the ball on the right side of the field, make sure that run scores from third. And you can see Chafin really stuck the bat out there far on the outside part of the plate just to make contact. But, hey, mission accomplished. It's 2-0.
Credit Chafin with an RBI, and this is punched into right field by Farrell. Brings home run number 3 for Sweeney. They're not trying to do too much. You think about it. The hits have been either to the right side or up the middle against this hard-throwing right-hander Carpenter, as the Trojans have fallen behind the Bulldogs 3-0.
Hitting the ball where it's pitched. That's what Michael Farrell did right there. And really, if you think about it, Kaylor Chafin did the same thing in the previous at-bat. If the ball is on the outside part of the plate, don't try to pull it. Hit it where it's pitched, take it to right, 2-run score, 3-zip.
Trevor Rowlett, the first baseman, stands into the batter's box, and he takes a pitch that misses, ball 1.
Sweeney very productive so far, 3 runs, 3 hits.
Yeah, the RBI double by Boyd, bringing home Johnson to get the scoring started, and then Sweeney just tacking on the runs after that as the pitch comes inside and it's fouled off over to the left side, and the count is even at a ball and a strike. Rowlett at the plate.
Scott Carter, the head coach over at Sweeney, he said that the toughest test was when in their own district. They had to play West Columbia, and West Columbia, a tough team, but they also had to square off against them just to get here to the state semifinals and beat them twice, 3-2 and 4-3. It doesn't get any closer than that.
Now, that was in the regional final just last week.
That District 29 3A is a tough district. By the way, the enrollment over at Sweeney, 582.
The 2-1 on the way. Rabel blocking the pitch. It was a breaking ball to Trevor Rowlett.
Both these teams come out of tough districts. Anytime that you've got a defending state champion in your district, that's always a tough road to hoe, no doubt about it.
The runner goes to second base, and he is going to be safe. Farrell, and that looked like a delayed steal. It really surprised the catcher.
Yeah, Jacob Reibel there couldn't get it out of his glove. It appeared for a second, and then by the time he threw it down, it was tardy.
Stolen base. Another runner in scoring position for the Bulldogs. Aggressive, and that's one of the things that Coach Carter did talk about in our pregame meeting. And that will end the first inning for Sweeney, but a very productive one in the state semifinals. First part of their run here. They get 3 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and a runner stranded at second base. We're through 1. It's 3-0 Bulldogs.
Today's game can be seen live on FoxSportsNetwork.com. Tomorrow's championship game, 6:30 p.m. here at US Sweeney Baseball Field, will also be broadcast live on Fox Sports. $5,000 will be awarded.
Well, you hear coaches talk about it so many times, about trying to get off to a great start. Well, that's what Sweeney did. They were able to get 3 runs on 3 hits in the bottom half of their inning to jump out quickly. And so now West, even though it's very early, they don't need to feel like they need to press or to try to hit a 3-run home run with no one on base.
You know, it's like a boxing match when you have 2 sluggers out there. At first you might be a little bit nervous, but when it comes right down to it, once the first run scores, the nerves kind of go away. Everyone realizes it's game on.
Justin Cepeda, the right fielder, leads off the top of the second inning for the West Trojans. Chafin, we had talked about his strikeout numbers compared to innings pitched. 60 innings pitched, 95 strikeouts coming into the ballgame. He has 1 already here today. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And some of the folks who we're talking to at Sweeney, they say, well, what kind of pitcher is Chafin? Quote-unquote junk ball. Well, not bad for a junk ball when you got that many strikeouts in innings pitched. Backhanded by the second baseman, Farrell, but it's going to go into shallow right center. And so Cepeda, a leadoff single. That's the second hit for the West Trojans.
Yeah, Justin Cepeda, he is batting .282 this year. Also pitches, but he's a senior. Did a nice job hitting that ball towards the right side.
Looks like Farrell was going to be able to make the play, but couldn't come up with it.
One of those tough decisions you have to make as an infielder. Do I want to backhand it or do I want to try to get in front of it? He elected to backhand it and it got away from him.
They score that a error. Evan Eubanks, so credit Farrell with an E4. That's the second error for Sweeney. An error committed by the catcher Simpson in the first inning, and now an error by the second baseman Farrell. Eubanks, a first baseman, coaching over at third. As you can see, fielding the ball is Corey Beckham, West. He is their third base coach.
Eubanks with a .267 batting average this year. He also pitches.
Coaching over at first for the Trojans is Terry Garrick. Eubanks comes up empty on the swing and miss. And Chafin, again, it's just a lot of movement on the pitches. It doesn't matter how hard you throw it.
Yeah, nibbles on the corners, has good control. Isn't too worried about the velocity. Just nibble on those corners, keep the ball down.
He's more worried about getting outs, and the strikeouts just happen for him. Alex Barton, the second baseman, takes a strike in there. No balls and 1 strike.
Well, your coach will be the first to tell you there's 7 fielders behind you, so why not take advantage of it?
0-1. Paints the outer half of the plate. 0-2.
Alex Barton batting .311, the second baseman for West. West with a huge Czech community known for their kolaches.
Yeah, they claim to have the best kolaches in the state. Of course, I would think that the folks at Schulenburg might have something to say about that.
Perhaps Sealy, the whole area around there, Germany, Czechoslovakia, all those countries well represented.
Base hit into right field, and Barton, a 1-out single, and now the Trojans have something cooking here in the top of the second inning.
And this is exactly what they need. You want to bounce back. You want to answer that 3 spot that Sweeney put on the board. And they're doing a nice job of getting things started here in the top of the second inning.
Number 8 hitter is Jacob Rabel, the catcher.
Ribel batting .240. Chance to put West on the board.
It's on the infield in foul territory, and it'll be over the first base dugout here at Dish Falk Field. Talked about the renovations that they did here. It's really, really nice now.
Yeah.
It was a nice ballpark before, but it's really nice now, especially with the field turf.
340 down that left field line, 325 down the right field line, 405 to the power alleys, 400 at dead center.
That one is fouled on the bunt attempt over to the right side. And the count is no balls and 2 strikes.
It's the kind of field where small ball works. Augie Garrido has made it famous here at the University of Texas, but a lot of teams at the Class 3A level will play that small ball, try to manufacture runs, and make sure you've got good pitching.
And not every team has a Colby Carpenter that can jack it out of the ballpark. On the outer half of the plate. Rebel doesn't think so, but he gives the bat off to the next hitter while he's standing in the batter's box, Coy Shear. That's the 3rd strikeout by Chafin. The 2nd in this inning. And so the Trojans now with runners at first and second, but with 2 outs. The number 9 hitter, Shear. And Shear takes a pitch inside, ball 1.
Coming up a little bit later on today at 4 o'clock, another big matchup. The Robinson Rockets out of the Waco area versus Pleasant Grove out of the Texarkana area. It's a rematch of the semifinals from last year. Robinson won that game last year and then went on to the state championship game and lost, but we'll have more on that one a little bit later on.
Count of 2 balls and no strikes with 2 away. Chafin the delivery. The number 9 hitter in the lineup, Shearer, has got a count of 3 balls and no strikes. Chafin will nibble. That's the scouting report. He is going to throw a lot of pitches, but he gets the big strikeouts when he needs them.
Well, let's remember, Colby Carpenter is on deck. 49 home runs. Little hidden ball trick going on here. Now we're all trying to figure out where is the ball. Okay, pitcher's got it. Okay.
And that brings a round of applause by the Trojan fans saying, you didn't fool us.
You got to love the dive by both the shortstop and the second baseman. That was nice.
2 away in the 3-0. Not even close. The bases are loaded for Colby Carpenter.
Yeah, I would say this is the situation that West was looking for. Get Carpenter up there with the bases juiced.
Even though it's early, Jeff, this is a game situation already.
Well, and remember, he's the pitcher. He's given up the 3 runs. He knows he can do something about it right now, stepping into the batter's box.
Into left. It'll fall. It gets away from the left fielder Boyd momentarily, and everybody's going to move up 90 feet.
So a nice piece of hitting by Colby Carpenter, drives in a pair of runs. He winds up at second base on the play. And just like that, the West Trojans are back in it.
Carpenter taking a pitch that was a breaking ball on the outer half of the plate. He pulled it. And Boyd just misplayed the ball. That's another error. Sweeney has committed 3 errors in the ballgame.
You do have to get used to that carpet. It's a little bit different. It's not going to bounce the way normal grass does. And let's face it, these players have not played on a surface like this probably all season. So it takes a bit of an adjustment.
Willenberg is the courtesy runner for Carpenter at second base. So a RBI, a single, and then an E7 on the left fielder, Austin Boyd. A tying run 90 feet away, and the pitch to Yannick, the center fielder, and it is 2 balls and no strikes, and all of a sudden the momentum has changed over to West.
Thanks in part to Colby Carpenter. He knew he had a chance to get his club right back in it. He does the job.
2 balls and 1 strike.
Even Carpenter's first out of the ball game was a liner to third. So he's hit the ball hard in both at bats.
Credit Carpenter with 2 RBIs on that play as that shot foul down the right side off the bat of Yannick. So a single, 2 RBIs, bringing home Cepeda and Barton. Shearer advancing to third, and Carpenter going to second on the error by the left fielder Boyd. So a hit here could possibly give West the lead. Yannick at the plate, a count of 2-2 in the pitch. Strikes out the side. In the process, Chafin gives up 2 runs, 2 errors in the inning, and there was 2 hits as well. Middle of the second, 3-2. Sweeney just with a 1-run lead on Fox Sports Southwest. The Trojans answer with 2 in the top of this inning to cut it to a 1-run lead. It is 3-2 Sweeney. Gerald Sanchez along with Jeff Power here on Fox Sports Southwest.
Yeah, we've already got a final to report in Class 1A. Fayetteville defeated Price Carlisle 5-4. That game being played over at the Dell Diamond. So we've already got a champion in 2012 in baseball.
Paxton throws out Richer. 6-3 on the out to start the bottom of the second.
It's been an interesting run this year in Class 3A. There was already a game earlier this year that went 13 innings in the postseason. China Spring defeated Lufkin Hudson. The story, though, the game ended at 2:22 in the morning. No curfew on Friday night, by the way.
First pitch here. 2 first pitch swings. This could be trouble, but Carpenter is able to hold on to the ball, battling the sun.
And that's a tough sky right there, too. You're looking at a very cloudy, overcast kind of day where the clouds are that white color, and it's more difficult to pick up the ball. The players would much prefer a blue sky over puffy white clouds. Much easier to find the baseball on a blue sky.
2 up and 2 down, and the Bulldogs to the top of the order with Travis Johnson, a center fielder. Three pitches and 3 outs. Radke, the third baseman, gives way to the shortstop Paxton. Radke is making his first start of the year over at third for the West Trojans. Paxton, the veteran, making the play, and Johnson retired in a quick 1-2-3 in the bottom of the second inning for Sweeney. 3-2 the score. Bulldogs. Three to 2, Sweeney over the West Trojans. Sweeney scoring the game's first 3 runs, but then West coming back with 2 in the top of the second inning. Now we go to the top of the third. Chafin will face Mason Paxton. It was a good play by Paxton, the shortstop, to make that play and help out his teammate Ryan Radke, who is with his first start of the year over at third base.
Yeah, definitely had trouble written all over it, but he stuck with it there and made the squeeze.
And so how many times do you see a player make a great defensive play and then lead off the next inning?
Let's find out if it happens again.
Here's Paxton.
There you go.
Over the head of the right fielder, Klutz. Paxton thinking about 3, but he's going to put the brakes on at second. Right on cue, right, Jeff?
Yeah, that was good. Paxton with a liner down the right field line. And he was rounding first base, looking over at his coach. He wanted to come into third, but had to hold up and stay at second. But look at the hitting right here. Hits the ball where it's pitched on the outside part of the plate. Immediately knows he's going to at least get a double. He had the wheels churning. And he winds up at second to get things started here for West in the top of the third inning. He is the tying run, by the way.
Alden Sikora, the designated hitter. Two for 2 for Paxton. Sikora, his first time up, bounced to the pitcher, Chafin. And that ended the first inning. Two 2-0 the count. West's head coach Corey Beckham, the third base coach, giving the sign over to Paxton, the runner at second. Shortstop Lemus jockeying for position. That's a strike on the outer half of the plate.
In case you're wondering, Sweeney located on the southeastern part of the Lone Star State, just south of Houston, down on the coast.
A Region 4 team.
Yeah, and west, located up as you get further up towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area along I-35.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Holden Sikora. We're talking about Corey Beckham. He was a member of the 1989 Class 2A state champion China Springs. He won it as a player. He also was in the state tournament his senior year, but they lost to Shelbyville in the state semifinals. And Sikora's got a count of 3-2 here from Kaylor Chafin. Into left center, and it's going to get to the wall. Game is tied at 3 on back-to-back doubles to start the top of the third for West.
Yeah, Holden Sikora got all of that one, laced it over towards the left center. Scoring on the play is Mason Paxton. But again, another nice job of hitting. The ball was on the outer part of the plate. Sikora went with it, laced it into left center. Watch this ball just on the outside corner of the plate. Sikora doing a fine job of hitting it where it's pitched.
You see, that has happened several times, going the opposite way. That is great discipline at the plate by the West Trojans. The game is tied at 3, and West now has 5 hits as the head coach, Scott Carter, is out there to visit with his pitcher Chafin and the catcher Simpson.
We might see Carter and Corey Beckham both tell their outfielders to scoot back a little bit. We've already seen 3 or 4 get over the heads of the outfielders.
Right fielder, number 8, Justin Cepeda.
Justin Cepeda, the right fielder. Reached on the error by Farrell. That was to lead off the second inning. He shows bunt, and he gets it on the right side. Rowlett will throw to the second baseman Farrell covering. It's 3-4 on the out, with Farrell covering at first base, but it moves the runner 90 feet. Cepeda sack bunt. Sikora is now at third base. Fundamental bunting right here. He squares around, and he just puts the bat on the ball and puts it on the right side. Perfect bunt to get the man over to third. And so 1 out. The corners come in for the Sweeny Bulldogs as Evan Eubanks, the first baseman, takes a pitch high, ball 1. 3-3 the score.
Evan Eubanks batting .267, bats from the left side of the plate. Or check that, he's a right-handed batter.
Eubanks 0 for 1, struck out swinging his first time up. Won't strike out here. The Trojans have the lead. RBI single by Eubanks. That's their 6th hit of the ball game. So they have come back all the way down from 3-0 in the first to take a lead with 2 runs in the second and now 2 runs here in the third.
3 solid hits, I might add. Paxton, Sikora with the back-to-back doubles. Now Eubanks with a hard hit to right. And West, despite trailing 3-0 after 1 inning, now leads 4-3. That ball had some heat on it, too. Eubanks did a nice job of just putting that ball right out there in the gap. Travis Johnson having a little bit of trouble, but did manage to keep the runner at first.
Here's Barton. Alex Barton takes the first pitch in there for a strike. It's 0-1. Scoring on the play is Sikora from second base, or further from third, I beg your pardon. Scored easily. No problem at all. 0-2.
You know, the West Trojans had to defeat Snyder, Burleson Centennial, Lubbock Cooper, and Andrews to get to the championship. Head coach Corey Beckham said that perhaps the Lubbock Cooper game might have been their toughest test in the postseason run.
Extra innings, wasn't it?
Yeah, 7-6 game. Another 7-6 victory over Andrews, and they defeated Andrews 10-5 in that second win. And Sweeney, on the other hand, had to go through Zapata, Needville, Yoakum, and West Columbia.
1-2 on the way. And Barton strikes out. That is the 5th strikeout for Kaylor Chafin.
Catcher, number 6, Jacob Waddle.
2 away and a runner at first, Eubanks. The thing about West is they have played very good non-district opponents. 2 of them are here in the state tournament out of the 4A level, Cleburne and Rockwall Heath.
Good point.
Which they defeated Cleburne and they lost to Rockwall Heath. Very close games, too. Rockwall Heath, they lost 2-1. It was early in the season. No balls and 1 strike to Robble.
Ball might have been a little bit high right there, but some pretty good heat nonetheless. This is the time of the game where you want to just have your pitcher settle down a little bit. It's a 1-run game.
2 balls and 1 strike. It is hot out there. 96 degrees. A little bit of humidity as well, and pitchers usually at this time of the day, their strength can get zapped quickly if they continue to throw pitches early in the ball game. Again going to the right side is Klutz coming in and makes the play on Rubble, and that will retire the side in the 3rd inning. The top of the 3rd has West score 2 runs to tie it and then take the lead on 3 hits. No errors and 1 man left on. 4-3 West, middle of the 3rd.
Thanks to Live Sports and Legacy for their youth perfection Queens baseball for this year's state championship. Live Sports is proudly the official ball carrier of the UIL. No matter what your sport is, just your baseball and lighting. Authentic and innovative, live shared with passion from every day.
West scoring 2 runs in the top of this inning to take a 4-3 lead. And so Sweeney's 3-run lead is now erased, as Jordan Lemus, the shortstop, will lead it off for the Bulldogs.
And if you're Colby Carpenter, you're feeling pretty good about life right now. You give up 3 runs in the 1st inning, but then you get 2 of them back with your own double, and then now you're up 4-3 with a couple more runs driven in. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more fastballs. I mean, it changes the way you pitch when you have the lead. You're not as worried as much about nibbling on the corners.
Yeah, more aggressive. First pitch to Lemus, the shortstop. 0-1. Sacrifice bunt, Lemus' first time up.
Of course, Carpenter last inning, a 1-2-3 inning. We'll see if he can add to that.
Count should be 2-1, but they have it 1-1 on the scoreboard. Past the diving third baseman Ratke into left field, a leadoff single by Lemus, the number 2 hitter. And so you're getting to that part of the lineup where Sweeney can put some runs on the board.
So Lemus with a nice piece of hitting there. He had the sacrifice in the 1st and now has the single to left.
But Jeff, it'll be interesting to see how they pitch Simpson, because the first time that they walked him, and with the runner at first, if you walk him here, you would put the tying run in scoring position with nobody out. So let's see how Carpenter challenges him if he does. Well, he doesn't challenge him. He gets hit by a pitch, and Simpson thought about throwing the bat. He just threw it over to the first base dugout instead, as he will come out for a courtesy runner. Most likely Dylan Casper will run for him again.
Yeah, we got a chance to actually talk with Simpson before the game. Big kid. He'll have a few minutes to kind of ice that back and maybe that shoulder area a little bit. That's what you worry about with your catcher. You want to make sure that that shoulder's is in good shape.
Yeah, he's only a junior.
Committed to the University of Houston.
Yeah, Todd Whitting and his program at Houston going to get a good ball player in a couple of years. Austin Boyd, RBI double in the first inning. No balls and 1 strike. So Simpson was hit by the pitch. Might as well intentionally walked him and saved the pain, right?
Yeah. I'm sure he would have preferred that.
Because it's the same result. You got runners at first and second. Casper is the courtesy runner at first. A breaking ball inside. The count is even at a 1-1. Well, you don't, if you are West and Carpenter, you do not want to have Sweeney get back any type of momentum.
Yeah, it's time to bear down if you're Carpenter with 2 on and nobody out.
Outside, it's 3-1.
I think Carpenter wanted that pitch right there, just on the black, as pitchers like to say, which is never a guaranteed strike, but it is part of that corner of the plate.
Beg your pardon, it's 2 balls and 1 strike. To the left side, third baseman Radke. Boy, Radke was really taking his time going to third base.
Yeah, almost cost him. And he might be feeling that in the back of his Achilles. Kind of got clipped there as he was touching third. But I'm almost thinking the better play there might be just to go to the old double play.
See how
he elects to go ahead and just take it over to third. But I was thinking, don't even worry about that runner. Get the ball to second and turn the double play. It's more important to get 2 outs in this situation than it would be to have just 1.
Lemus was really hustling down from second to third, and he almost beat Radke. Now, Radke, this is his first start at third base, and we've seen a couple of balls that it has shown. Foul ball back to the screen. There's the pitcher, Kaylor Chafin, who throws left, but he bats right.
Well, the other thing is Austin Boyd's got some pretty good speed, so I'm almost thinking in that situation, perhaps Radke's thinking, well, I'm not going to get the double play going to second and on to first, so let's just get the sure out over here at third. But he looked a little too sure of himself, didn't he?
The 1-1 on the way.
But Radke will say, hey, I had it totally under control. What's the problem?
Got the out, and you got the lead runner. Third base coach Scott Carter flashing the signs. Will Mater is the first base coach for Sweeney. This time it's to third, and that's the only play he'll go there. And you see that Corey Beckham saying, might as well have thrown to first base to see if he would have what happened. But a 5 unassisted again, a fielder's choice for Chafin, as he will come out for a courtesy runner. Will Franklin is running for Chafin at first base. And Michael Farrell will come to the plate.
Yeah, Farrell had a single in the first inning.
Second baseman, number 12, Michael Farrell.
Farrell, one of those kind of players where you want him up in this situation with a couple of runners on, but there are 2 outs. Sweeney trailing by a run. Farrell batting .354.
Casper at second, Franklin at first. Fielded by the pitcher Carpenter, the throw to first. Balls were hit on the infield, and first and second for Sweeney with nobody out, and they can't do anything. At the end of 3 from Dish Falk Field in the 3A state semifinal, West leading by a run. 4-3 West. Here on Fox Sports Southwest and FoxSportsHouston.com. Gerald Sanchez along with Jeff Power from Dish Falk Field. This is the first of two of the semifinals in 3A. The other one will be Robinson against Pleasant Grove from Texarkana. That'll be the 4 o'clock game here today, and the winner of this will play the winner of that game for the state championship tomorrow, which we'll also have at 6:30 on Fox Sports Southwest. Coy Shear walked in the second inning. Bunt up the third base line and foul.
And a nice job right there by Josh Rickers letting that ball go foul. A less experienced third baseman might have tried to make a play right there, but what you do is you let that ball go foul because there's no way you're going to get him out at first.
West gunning for another hit and a surprise element there. They have 6 hits to this point. Sweeney has committed 3 errors as well. The 0-2. Way up and outside the strike zone, and Shear doing Chafin a favor. Swinging and missing. It's a strikeout.
Yeah, Coy Shear going up top there, trying to get a hold of that one, but down 0-2 count, strikes out swinging.
Chafin with 6 strikeouts in the ballgame for the first 3 and a third innings. Colby Carpenter, the pitcher. 1 ball and no strikes.
It's not unusual to find your top offensive performer to be your pitcher, but I tell you what, Carpenter is just the real deal. He is the full package.
Well, you see a lot of that at the high school level, where the best offensive player, like you said, Jeff, is the pitcher. It's whenever they get to the draft or they are playing college ball, they don't have the opportunity to hit, and they don't have that opportunity to continue to swing, and so they lose that.
I mean, the
Some of them do.
Amazing thing about Carpenter, he's earned 40 wins as a pitcher and has 49 home runs as a slugger. I mean, that's in his career. He's played all 4 years, of course, on the varsity level. And he takes a walk here.
That's the second walk given up by Chafin in the ballgame.
We were joking around with Carpenter before the game. We said, hey, you want to maybe do this interview over on the Longhorn in center field? Of course, he's going to Oklahoma. He didn't want to do that.
Blaine Willenborg is the runner.
He said he really wasn't even that fond of the color of orange on the around home plate. So already sticking true to the crimson and cream of OU.
Dylan Yannick into center field. Johnson will play it on a hop. 7 hits for West. Yannick, after striking out twice, gets a single into center field.
Yeah, Yannick doing a nice job there with the hit. Travis Johnson thought about making a diving effort, but realized with 1 out, might be best to let this one just bounce in and get the ball back in. You certainly don't want to be diving for the ball and then let it get by you.
Ball 1 to Mason Paxton, the shortstop.
Paxton already 2 for 2 in this game. A single in the first, a double in the third.
Scored the tying run in the third inning. Chafin trying to get a pitch inside, but umpire calls it a ball, and Paxton ahead in the count. 2 balls and no strikes. A 1-run lead for West. 1 out, and looking like they're trying to get another run across, and they looks like they will. Into right center field. They're waving in the runner. And Willenborg scores the courtesy runner for Carpenter. It's 5-3.
So Paxton now 3 for 3 on the afternoon. A single, a double, and another single here. And West increasing their lead to 5-3. But look at the hitting right here by Paxton. Driving this ball towards right where it's pitched again. I tell you, West is putting on a clinic on how to hit the baseball opposite field. And that's not always a given at the high school level.
Well, we talked about it, Jeff, last night, about how a lot of these ball players don't dismiss them because they're from 3A. There's a lot of really good ball players that in this, as we have seen Simpson behind the plate for Sweeney, on the mound, Carpenter. And look at Paxton, the shortstop, 3 for 3, and plate discipline as he has gone opposite field now twice in his last 2 at-bats, driving home the 5th run for West.
You know, coming up later today, we're going to see Chad Hollingsworth, outstanding pitcher for Waco Robinson, one of the top pitchers in all of Class 3A. He's got a .31 ERA with 135 strikeouts. He's got some pure gas, so we'll see him later.
Jordan Lemus is the new pitcher. He is summoned from the shortstop position for Sweeney. 5'6", but he can bring it. Don't let his small stature fool you. Kind of like Tom Gordon, you know?
Well, you know, West has 8 hits already, and they've been pretty solid hits. They haven't been just little infield nubbers. But I think West just got to the point where, or Sweeney got to the point where their head coach, Scott Carter, really felt like, well, there is no tomorrow. At this point, we've got to stop them from scoring. Despite having the 3-0 lead, they now trail 5-3 to West.
We have some defensive changes with this pitching change because Lemus is the new pitcher and he has to come in from the shortstop position. That means the center fielder Travis Johnson will come from the center field spot and play shortstop, and Kaylor Chafin, who was taken out, will be the new center fielder. So Chafin from the pitcher spot to center field. The center fielder Johnson will go to the shortstop position, and the shortstop Lemus will come on to the mound.
Crucial time of the game right here. Lemus coming up, but there's another run only 90 feet away, and with only 1 out, Lemus would love to get a ground ball double play, and that's why Sweeney's playing back right now, especially in the middle infield.
Yannick went to third on that hit by Paxton. So runners on the corners with Sikora, a left-handed batter, against Jordan Lemus. And he'll go from the stretch position, and the first pitch is inside, ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes as West has taken a 2-run lead in this ball game. They have scored in the 2nd, 3rd, and now here in the 4th inning after trailing 3-0. Lemus swing and a miss.
You're talking about some of the talent at the 3A level. Argyle's Austin Ani was drafted by the New York Yankees as the 89th overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft. And you really like to see that. Class 3A players getting drafted into the big leagues. How nice is that?
The 1-1 on the way. Bunt attempt up the first base side. It'll get home another run as Lemus tags Sikora.
Is that what you call that? A tag, perhaps, but nonetheless, a nice job.
A love tap?
Yes.
Sacrifice bunt, 1 unassisted. Well, let's see for yourself. That was a good bunt.
You got to make sure you get the out, and you got to hang on to the ball, but more of a collision than anything else.
In the book, it's called a tag. Another runner in scoring position as the second run of this inning has come across. 3 innings consecutively that West has scored 2 runs to take a 6-3 lead. Yannick scoring from third base. Paxton at second. Cepeda, the right fielder. Count of 1-1. So Kaylor Chafin, you can't close the book on him just yet because the runner Paxton is his responsibility, but just 3 1/3, 8 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 1 fly ball out, 3 ground ball outs.
And most importantly, 6 runs.
To this point. And all of them have been earned.
And this is coming despite leading 3-0 after 1 inning.
And remember, Chafin also 12-0 on the season. Ball gets away from the catcher, Simpson. And moving to third is Paxton on the wild pitch from Lemus. You know, they want to get another run here.
You know, Corey Beckham, the West head coach, says that they get tested day in and day out in their own district. Of course, Kennedale, the defending champs in their district. Colby Carpenter, the senior Super Syntex Player of the Year. Keeps that career batting average over 400. It's amazing.
That's another walk. Second walk of the inning, third walk in the ball game for Bulldog pitching. The first pitch issued by Jordan Lemus. Runners on the corners with 2 outs, and Evan Eubanks.
Yeah, Eubanks had a single in his last at bat in the 3rd inning, struck out in the 2nd.
Got an RBI in that 3rd inning. So now 3-run leads have been swapped. A 3-run lead for Sweeney after 1. A 3-run lead for West here in the top of the 4th. Gas. That was some heat right there.
The only player batting over 400 in this West lineup is Paxton. Mason Paxton batting .471.
And he's earning his money here today, 3 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored.
Carpenter batting .353, by the way.
And speaking of Paxton, he's at third base. And they're trying to get the runner. They're trying to, well, actually, the runner, Cepeda, tried to get in a rundown to see if they could get another run. Well, they did not bite for it, and he gets to second base.
I saw that earlier this morning on television in the 1A game. Of course, those games on Time Warner Cable's Texas channel. But I have to admit, I haven't seen a player just stop in the middle of first and second and try to get a throw. Not with 2 outs, anyway.
Cepeda, you credit him with the stolen base, but that could be fielder's indifference.
Well, I would think.
Foul ball back to the screen. The official scorer says he steals second base.
He had a chance to pour a cup of coffee and make a sandwich.
Put some cream in it, too.
Now, that's some indifference right there.
That they say stolen base on the official score. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs.
Well, there was no throws, so I think.
Into right. This will bring home 1, and Cepeda will stop at third. Paxton, Paxton comes home on the RBI single by Eubanks. His second RBI, he's now 2 for 3. And that is the West Trojans' 9th hit of the ball game.
Yeah, Eubanks, another nice job of hitting with runners on second and third, goes opposite field, drops it right in for a single. The West bats have come alive. 2 in the second, 2 in the third, now 3 here in the 4th inning, leading it 7-3.
Barton takes a pitch that misses ball 1. You would think that with Lemus and his powerful fastball that would be the end of that, and the Sweeny Bulldogs would be at the plate hitting, but West, to their credit, have continued to put the ball in play. It's 2 balls and no strikes. 9 hits, 7 runs for West. It is 3 balls and no strikes.
Looks like he caught the corner there, 2-1.
Beg your pardon, it was a strike.
Just a delayed call right there.
And that umpire had been calling that a ball earlier. It's 2-1 with 2 outs. Barton is 1 for 2 with the run scored. And now it is 2-2.
Almost the same pitch right there. Hey, if it worked before, try it again. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that same pitch one more time with 2 balls and 2 strikes and 2 outs. Pivotal part of the game.
Long hesitation from Jordan Lemus, the shortstop, now the pitcher. He gets a swinging strikeout, and that does it in the 4th inning. The Trojans tack on 3 runs on 3 hits. No errors and 2 men left on. Middle of the 4th, 7-3, West over Sweeney. Two in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th. Add that up, it's 7 runs for the Trojans, who trailed 3-0 after 1. But they answered in a big way. Now it is Sweeney's turn to see if they can chip away at this 4-run deficit as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning.
Yeah, it's time. It's a 7-inning game. This is the halfway point, if you will, and Sweeney, with just the 4 hits, did all their damage in the 1st inning, scoring 3 runs, but have been pretty much held in place the last couple innings.
Rowlett is 0 for 1, struck out swinging against Colby Carpenter. That ended the 1st inning, in which the Bulldogs had their best inning, scoring those 3 runs. The pitch is inside on a fastball.
Carpenter's got to feel pretty good right now about his situation. He's got a couple RBIs, pitching much better since that 1st inning.
2-0 the count. Now the tables have turned, and you give the same advice that we gave West after the 1st inning. Sweeney just needs base runners and work that count. Drive up the pitch count from Colby Carpenter. A count of 2 balls and 1 strike.
Any team in the state semifinals can tell you they can look back on the season and remember a game where they had to rally to win. Those are always big. You got to go back to that moment, think about what you did to win that game, and find it within yourself.
And baseball is such a mental game, Jeff. It's just being able to relax.
Good pitch right there by Carpenter on the inside lower half. He's got a good fastball, works the curve and the change, but uses that slider very effectively.
Speaking of,
there it is. Yeah, he worked that corner right there, and I totally understand why you take that pitch, but he was able to get the outside corner. Carpenter was.
Rowlett is now 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, and that is only the 2nd strikeout of the ball game for Carpenter. Thought he might have had another 1 or 2 is sprinkled in there, but so far 2, as the 3rd baseman Josh Richards. Count of no balls and 1 strike. When you look at Carpenter's motion, not a lot of extra movement out there. His mechanics seem like they are on top notch.
Yeah, he works fast. Doesn't take a lot of time in between pitches. Josh Richards here, a .256 hitter. And this is a Sweeney lineup that's got several players batting in the 300 range. Tyler Krebs, 333. Michael Farrell, 354. Travis Johnson, 381.
And the starting pitcher, Kaylor Chaffin, 356. Now the center fielder.
Of course, Corey Simpson, 484. Kyle Klutz, 448. Ross Narum, 500. I mean, these are some impressive sticks, but they need him to come through now.
3 runs on 4 hits for Sweeney, trailing by 4.
You said they needed base runners. There you go.
1 out walk. Richards goes to first base.
Right fielder, number 20.
That is the first walk given up by Colby Carpenter.
The senior Klutz here, a 448 hitter. He's got good speed, too. He's an outfielder. He's got a chance to do something here.
Prompt up to the pitcher. Carpenter's first time up, 0 for 1.
I like these helmets that Sweeney wears. Look like they've got racing stripes.
Kind of like, if you will, maybe the foul ball down the left side. Maybe the Michigan Wolverines.
Sure, I can see it.
Or closer to home for us, Jeff, the Spring Lions.
Yeah, it's got that look where they just, it's easy to spot. But maybe it makes you think they're a little faster than they actually are.
It's all about getting the edge, especially in the mental game of baseball.
Like their hair is flying behind them or something.
Bottom part of the lineup, we talk about it so many times, that bottom part of the lineup needs to roll it over to get base runners for the top and the middle parts of the lineup. And we throw great offensive players up there, 1 through 9. Just benefits everything.
Sweeney, of course, District 29, 3A. Got the Columbia blue and white.
See, and I told our graphics coordinator, Columbia blue. He says, no, light blue. But it's Columbia blue.
And if you're a Houston fan, of course, the Oilers were Columbia blue back in the day.
I think our graphics producer is a Cowboy fan. Strike called on the outer half of the plate. It's 1-2. Lead at first, a 1-out walk to Richards. Eubanks holding him on. Stretching the 1-2. Goes after it on the outer half of the plate. Another slider. And that's the 3rd strikeout for Carpenter as Klutz becomes the 2nd out of the inning and the 2nd strikeout victim here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Yeah, Klutz went fishing right there, and that slider, it's hard to hold back. Once you've committed, it's hard to keep that bat from crossing the plate, so you've got to go ahead and go with it. That is the 2nd strikeout of the inning.
Travis Johnson, the center fielder, top of the order for the Bulldogs. 1 for 2, a single and a run scored in the 1st inning, and then Johnson popped up to the shortstop Paxton.
You know, Travis Johnson got it all started. He led off with a single to start the game and scored that 3-run 1st inning for Sweeney. And the Bulldogs need him to come through right here with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th, trailing 7-3.
Carpenter, 2 quick ones ahead of the count, 0-2 to Travis Johnson.
Carpenter working from that first base side of the rubber. Any kind of edge he can get.
The 0-2 with 2 outs. Breaking ball just missed.
That was close. Kind of surprised Travis Johnson still had that bat locked in but to position.
The 1-2. Breaking ball is skied. Right side. Catcher Robble will watch this one go over the screen. Well, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nice crowd on hand for both these schools.
Jordan Lemus on deck, the pitcher. Had a single in his last at bat. He'd like to get a shot to pick up some runs here, help his own cause on the mound.
Johnson is now the shortstop because he started the game in center. Now he's the shortstop. And he hits it to the shortstop, backhanded by Paxton, and he gets his man. Very, very close. Richards thought he might have gotten in there. But that is the 3rd out in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Yeah, one of those kind of plays where it was a bang-bang play, Ump's right there. Has got to make a call. Let's take a look at this one more time and just see how close it was.
That was a good job by Paxton not to panic.
Wow.
Very, very close, Jeff.
He was safe.
At the end of 4, 7-3 West. As you see on the scoreboard in right center field, this is the first of 2 here today for the 3A state semifinals in the 2012 Texas UIL Baseball State Championships. As West is going to have a pinch hitter, Tyler Pusjoski is hitting for the catcher Jacob Robel. Pusjoski.
It's a good Bohemian name.
So a pinch hitter, Pusjoski, wearing jersey number 15, takes a pitch from Jordan Lemus on in relief. It's 1 ball and no strikes.
Did I tell you that I had some Bohemian in me? Yaksamash to be active.
Really?
Mother went to Sealy High School.
1 ball, 1 strike. So the Kalachi capital of Texas, West. They call it West, comma, because when you think West Texas, well, you think West Texas, the geographical part of our state. But they call it West, comma. That's what some of the folks in the area do.
I like that.
1-2 the count.
Don't forget the comma.
That's right. 30 on I-35.
Yeah, I'm sure they often hear, well, what part of West Texas? Well, downtown West.
2-2 the count. With the enrollment of 470 students. The red and black, the Trojans, trying to win their 2nd state championship in school history. Out number 1 as Pusjoski, the pinch hitter, strikes out.
Left fielder, number 32, Coy Shear.
Coy Shear, number 9 hitter in the lineup, walked in the 2nd inning, struck out swinging in the 4th. He's 0 for 1. Lemus goes exclusively from the stretch, and the fastball is called a strike at the letters. No balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, it appears here so far, here in the top of the 5th inning, Lemus settling down a bit.
1 ball and 1 strike. Back in 1999, the West Trojans defeated Forney for the state championship, and that was played actually on this field. It was before they moved over to Dell Diamond. Moved over to Dell Diamond in 2001 for the state tournament, at least for some of the ball games. And unlike previous years, or at least the recent history, the UIL tournament doesn't have to kind of work around the super regional tournament for the NCAA.
Yeah, the Longhorns failing to make it to the postseason beyond the Big 12 tournament this year. Disappointed not to get the selection, but Big 12 competition tough this year. Baylor, of course, a real strong baseball team this season. Texas A&M had a fine year, so did you'd even stretch over to TCU, of course, and Rice out of the conference.
It's 2-2.
I think Coy Shear right there is thinking, I probably should have taken that one for the team right there. Kind of ducked out of the way. He didn't make too much of an adjustment. He thought that ball was going to hit him, I believe, but it didn't.
That one was outside the strike zone, and Lemus has struck out the first 2 hitters he has seen here in this 5th inning. Colby Carpenter. 1 for 2, 2-run single in the 2nd inning. Bats with 2 on and nobody out here. Inside, Lemus. That one got away from him.
Almost got our microphone down there, huh? Nice and loud sound there. Of course, Carpenter broke the 3A career home run record. Sits at 49 right now. And if you think about it, I mean, Carpenter, he's a senior. He's batting .353. He's 10-1 as a pitcher. Has 40 career victories as a pitcher. But you don't see a lot of size there for a guy that's got 49 home runs. He's just got a lot of strength.
And especially with the bat change at the high school level this year, that's saying something.
In his first tournament this year, he had 4 home runs. He said, what bat differential?
You know, we've seen the home runs and just the power all the way around at the high school level really go down this year.
And that's what really makes that number 49 really catch your attention.
A full count to Carpenter with 2 outs from Jordan Lemus. Mound opponent versus mound opponent. He had a pitch to rip and he just fouled it right back.
A lot of good baseball this year in Class 3A. We talked about the matchup coming up after this one. Robinson and Pleasant Grove. Pleasant Grove has made 5 consecutive appearances in the state tournament. That's a record. Robinson's the team that knocked him out of the semifinals last year, but then went on to lose to Kennedale in the state championship game.
2-out walk, and Carpenter will be lifted for the courtesy runner, Lane Willenborg. Willenborg is running at first base. Second time that Carpenter has walked. Dylan Yannick singled and a run scored his last time. He's 1 for 3. The previous 2 times against Chafin, he struck out swinging.
What do you think about the rule about having the runners come in? It's not something you see at the major league level. But do you like the fact that the pitcher, maybe in this situation, for example, Carpenter doesn't have to be left out on the base paths, but he still gets a chance to bat, but then can go sit down after he gets a hit or gets on base?
Well, one of the reasons they do this rule, the pitch is outside, ball 2, 2 balls, no strikes. So at the high school level, they don't do it at the college level. They don't do it obviously at the major league level or even at the professional level. They want to get more kids active in playing. It's a chance to, it helps the pitcher and catcher and also maybe speed up the game a little bit to where they don't have to go back to the dugout, put on their gear, or in the case of a catcher, come out and wait for the warm-up to go. It helps speed up the game a little bit. It gets, like I said, some of the players more opportunity to play and feel that they can contribute.
Good point. I mean, Willenborg bats 136. He's on first as a runner. He could probably do much more damage on the base paths as a runner than maybe he could at the plate. But he's also a pitcher, I might add. He's 6-0 as a pitcher. But if you've got some speed, I mean, that's a sure way to get in the game.
Back-to-back walks from Jordan Lemus. Willenborg goes to second, Yannick to first. So after back-to-back strikeouts, Lemus has walked 2 hitters. And now the catcher, Simpson, going to go out and try to settle down his pitcher.
Yeah, especially with Mason Paxton stepping up. I mean, he's had a single in the first, a double in the third, another single in the 4th inning, and Paxton's batting over 471 now. He came into the game batting 471. He's probably up around 475 right now.
Well, this is a big at-bat here. I know that Scott Carter and the Sweeny Bulldogs did not want to get it to this point where you got their best hitter with the runner in scoring position. That's in for a strike. Because Rabel and Scheer both struck out. Then you walk the leadoff man Carpenter. Wilborg is running for him at first, or second, beg your pardon. Yannick is running at first on those walks. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes here. Lemus has been successful on the strikeout pitch in this inning. In fact, he had at one point 3 strikeouts in a row.
And this is Lemus, who's actually started the game at shortstop and came in to relieve Chafin, who had a 3-0 lead, but couldn't shut the door on West as West rallied for 7 runs.
Inside out, and a foul ball over to the right side. Holding it 0-2. Wonder if Lemus is going to try to climb the ladder, maybe go up and away, try to have Paxton chase a pitch outside the strike zone. I would imagine with a count of 0-2, might as well try up there a couple of times.
I tell you, the way West has been hitting the opposite pitch, their opposite hitting has been amazing.
Johnson, the shortstop, will squeeze it, and that'll retire the side. So the two-out walks do not come back and haunt Sweeney. Middle of the 5th, a 4-run lead for the Trojans. Seven to 3 with West with the lead, and got some fans out there in right center field having a good old time.
I love it. It says press box on there. They've got they're running the stats up to us.
That's right.
But that's not us, I promise you. I don't know if that's the best angle, but hey, if you don't have to pay, it may not be that bad right there, right?
Well, you know, during the Longhorn games, and I know you know this, they have guys out there all along the outfield, and especially in right field, where they just watch the game from top of cars and trucks and so forth. Fly ball into center field off the bat of Lemus, and it's going to be caught by Yannick to start the bottom of the 5th for Sweeney.
Yeah, it's a good way to get the barbecue going. You still get to catch the game. You kind of go at your own leisure. You know, over in College Station, of course, they had the Aggie Alley, where they'll pull up in their pickup trucks, and they have couches in the back of the pickup trucks to watch the game.
0-1 the count to Corey Simpson, the catcher. Simpson walked in the first. That was an intentional walk. He was hit by a pitch. Second time, I would imagine with a 4-run lead and no one on, you go right after him here. Because even if he does reach base, no harm. But you take your chances.
And Colby Carpenter, he has definitely settled down since that first inning.
Slider in for a strike.
I think he's had more control of that slider. He's done a nice job of putting it right where he wants. He seems to have the Sweeney players a little off guard and swinging at that pitch on the outside corner.
Tries to go on the outer half of the plate, and he misses.
Of course, Simpson here reached base both times. One for the intentional walk, and the second time got hit.
Intentionally.
It hit intentionally.
2-2. That one misses on a breaking ball.
But Simpson is, for all practical purposes, the top hitter on the team. Maybe not with the actual number as far as his batting average, because there are a couple of batters here in the 500 range, but he told me before the game that, well, I've had a lot more at-bats.
Good play by the pitcher Carpenter to cover over at first. Eubanks went for that ball.
Yeah, he did. And at this point, I'm thinking Carpenter's glad.
4-1 on the out as Martin makes the play, and good heads-up play by The pitcher Carpenter to cover. 2 away here in the bottom of the 5th. And if you're Sweeney, it's not time to press, but you're starting to run out of outs. You've got 7 defensive outs in which to work with to try to come up with 4 runs. As Carpenter delivers to Austin Boyd, the left fielder.
And this is the meat of the order. I mean, Austin Boyd batting .500. Nice man to have up there right behind Corey Simpson. You really can't pitch around Simpson. Although West tried it early on in the game, and it actually hurt them. Austin Boyd had a double, driving in a run.
Just punches it in to center, right off the glove of Barton.
Well, there's living proof right there. You really don't have to swing the bat that hard. Just make contact and let the ball speed help you. You hear that a lot in golf. You know, you don't have to swing really hard. Just make good contact, and that's exactly what Boyd did.
2-out single. And that is their first hit since Lemus led off the top of the 3rd inning. 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. And the hitter, Chafin, the center fielder, was the starting pitcher to start the game.
Yeah, 10 consecutive batters had been retired. West, of course, here in the black jersey tops. Very simple, just the T and the W. Of course, West and Trojans.
That'll get down. The inning is alive for the number 6 hitter, Michael Farrell, the second baseman. Back-to-back hits for the Bulldogs.
Nice piece of hitting right here. Again, opposite field hitting. It's sort of been a clinic on both sides here on how to hit the ball opposite field.
Don't try to pull it. Don't try to roll over on it. Down the middle.
A good pitch right there. You know, just looking at the uniform here for West, one more comment. Why don't they just go ahead and put West and then have the comma on there? I'd like to see that.
Farrell is 1 for 2. RBI single in the 1st inning. Also had a steal. And a comebacker to Carpenter, and that ended the 3rd. Pitch from the right-hander. 1 ball and 1 strike.
That might have been the curve right there, or the changeup. That ball definitely off speed. As we mentioned earlier, 3 no-hitters in his career, 1 already this year for Carpenter.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
Had the no-hitter against Burleson Centennial in the postseason, a 1-0 victory. In fact, they blanked Burleson Centennial 1-0 and 8-0. Their first 4 playoff games were all shutouts for West.
1-2. Good job of hitting by Farrell to stay alive.
Sun starting to peek out now between the cloud cover. Don't expect any shadows in this game, but maybe later today, shadows could be a factor.
It's 2-2. In the bottom of the 5th, Sweeney with Lemus and Simpson retired easily, but then Boyd and Chafin, who are at 1st and 2nd, reaching with base hits against Colby Carpenter. Shot foul. It goes to the first base dugout. 6 hits for the Bulldogs. However, they have only had 1. Well, they've actually had now 3 with the 2 here in this 5th. The 3 hits since that 1st inning when they had 3 runs on 3 hits. No hits in the 2nd, a single hit in the 3rd, no hits in the 4th, and now 2 hits here in the 5th.
Corey Beckham, the head coach of West. His assistants Shane Evans, Terry Garrick, and Clint Wallerven.
Right to the shortstop, Paxton. Well, he has been everywhere here today. in the bottom of the 5th for the Bulldogs. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 men left on. We'll be back on Fox Sports Southwest and FoxSportsHouston.com. A 4-run lead for the Trojans. Gerald Sanchez along with Jeff Power here from the 3A state semifinal. One more to go with Robinson and Pleasant Grove. That'll be a 4 o'clock Central first pitch. Thanks for watching and tuning in wherever you may be. Thanks to the World Wide Web. We got folks listening, or watching, I should say, watching all over, even overseas.
Worldwide. Jordan Lemus, the line on him so far, 1 2/3 innings pitched, has allowed a hit, but no runs yet, 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. So he goes back up to the mound.
Designated hitter number 3, Olin Sikora.
Olin Sikora, the DH, will lead off the top of the 6th for West. Lemus working exclusively from the stretch, and the first pitch is a strike on the outer half of the plate to Sikora. Today, RBI double in the 3rd inning. It's 1 for 2, also a sac bunt in the 4th.
Got a couple RBIs in the game.
Lemus inside. Well, the Trojan fans are a very spirited bunch. And why not? Up by 4 with 6 defensive outs away from playing for their 2nd state championship in their school history.
And it's kolaches for everyone.
Right side, first baseman Rowlett will take it himself. There, he's safe. That's what happens when you don't give up on the play, and Sikora never gave up on it, hustling.
Yeah, good hustle play right there by Sikora, doing a nice job of just kept on motoring down the baseline. Looked like there's a little bit of indecision over there at first by Trevor Rowlett. Ball sharply hit to first.
Look at that hustle.
Rowlett looking over to get some help from his pitcher, and no help.
They're going to rule an error on the first baseman, Rowlett.
That was a close play at first, wasn't it? Oh, actually had him.
So no infield hit, and that is an E3 because Rowlett bobbled the ball momentarily before was able to go over to first base, and maybe if Rowlett hustled a little bit more, he could have been out.
I think the minute he made the play and kind of knocked the ball down, he immediately thought he was going to get some help by having his pitcher over there covering on the play.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one.
And when he looked up and realized, wait a minute, he's not coming over, it was time to motor over to first.
And Sikora already had his motor from 90 feet away going hard. So
I think Lemus, to his credit, probably felt like the ball was hit so hard to first, he didn't think he didn't need to go over.
Into center field. 5 errors for the Sweeney Bulldogs as Justin Cepeda reaches on the fielder's choice. Sikora is safe at second base.
So we're stepping out of the dugout is Scott Carter. Thought he might want to make a pitching change, but he kind of looked over to Lemus and told him, just settle down, it's okay.
Courtesy runner at second base.
Willenborg is going to run for Sikora. That is a pinch runner.
Lane Willenborg, pinch runner.
He is entering as a pinch runner because Sikora is the designated hitter. And so Willenborg is at second base. Cepeda is at first.
You know, you'll often hear coaches talk about how the reason why they like to lay those bunts down is make the defense make an error. And you do see it at the high school level. Small ball does work. Sometimes a pitcher coming off that mound, let's face it, it's an uneven ground. If you field that ball on the mound somewhere and you got to make a throw, could just be that little bit of the unlevel ground that could cause you to throw it high to second. I do believe that's why most pitchers have trouble throwing it to second base when they field it right around the mound.
Nobody out in this inning. Top of the sixth for West. Evan Eubanks, the first baseman, showing bunt, and he pulls it back. Ball one from Jordan Lemus.
I mean, it's amazing if you think about it. A pitcher should never have a wild, throw to any bag. I mean, his job is to throw strikes, and so, but something about coming off that rubber and trying to make a play at second is just tough.
2 balls and no strikes. Time is called, and head coach Corey Beckham going to have a word with Eubanks. Struck out swinging in the second inning, and then 2 RBIs, 1 in the third and 1 in the fourth.
Pleasant Grove Hawks and the Robinson Rockets making their way into the stadium here at UFCU Disch-Falk Field. That is the game at 4 o'clock. The winner of that game gets the winner of this one, and right now West leading it 7-3 as we play in the 6th.
Bunts it, catcher Simpson making the play. Good play by Simpson, the catcher.
Yeah, Simpson got the gear off quickly and looked right up into that sun, but found the ball and made the play. Key out right there, the first of the inning.
Eubanks retired. Now it is Alex Barton, the second baseman. Willenborg still at second. Cepeda still at first. Lemus missing 1 ball and no strikes.
The 5 errors by Sweeney have been costly.
You cannot give a good team like West extra outs in which to work with. 2-0 the count. Barton 1 for 3, singled and scored a run in the second inning. Other than that, striking out in the third, striking out to end the fourth. But here he's got a count of 3 balls and no strikes. Lemus, the 3-0. And it got the umpire, it looked like. Simpson did not catch the ball, and he's making sure that the home plate umpire is okay.
Yeah, that can come back to haunt you if you're a catcher.
Scott Carter.
Don't want to just kind of let that ball olay right by you.
Scott Carter is going to make a change. You can't say he's going to the bullpen because he's going to have a pitcher come from the field, actually. And I'm not sure exactly who he would go with, but it's always a tough job, catcher or home plate umpire.
That's why they wear the gear, no question about it. A lot of protection.
Sweeney at one point had a 3-0 lead. And that was on 3 hits at the end of 1. But then the Trojans chipped away with 2 in the second. They added 2 in the third to take a 4-3 lead. And then 3 in the fourth. And they now lead 7-3 in the top of the 6th inning. And they're looking for more as the bases are loaded.
Yeah, it's been a game of perhaps missed opportunities for Sweeney, but West has just really battled back. Give them credit. I mean, they didn't get down when they were trailing 3-0 after one inning. Colby Carpenter had the double to get things started, drove in a couple of runs. He's pitched really well on the mound, has not allowed a run since that first inning when he gave up 3. West has out-hit Sweeney 9-6, but West has not committed any errors. Sweeney has committed 5. And most of those errors came after West had already scored the 7 runs.
Austin Boyd, who was scheduled to be the starting pitcher for tomorrow, has now been brought in relief here to try to hold it right here, because if he doesn't, then there is no tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow, exactly. Well, the sun is out in full effect now.
Jordan Lemus goes back to the shortstop position. Jacob Rabel, right-handed batter, swings at the first pitch, skies it. Klutz coming down the right field line, and it's foul.
A lot of ground to cover here at UFCU Dishvalk Field. As we'd mentioned, power alleys at 405, 400 to dead center, 340 down the left field line, 325 down the right field line.
So here is Boyd. The right-hander delivers. Third pitcher to be used by Scott Carter. Chafin, the starter, is on the hook for the loss. Lemus and now Boyd. Right-hander delivers with the infield playing in, and they've got a man hung up, but they cannot execute. And getting back in safely is Willenborg, the pinch runner.
Yeah, the shortstop Lemus needed to get over to third base quicker so they could have a play over there at third. Watch what happens here. You see Lemus over there at short. Didn't completely hustle back to third, and they didn't have an option. There was no one back at third base.
It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. That bunt attempt from Rabel is a strike. And he struck him out. That's a big out right there. That's the 3rd time that Rabel has struck out in this ball game.
Just what the doctor ordered. Pitchers will be the first to tell you they really just take control of the situation with a strikeout.
The Sweeny Bulldogs pitching staff now with 10 strikeouts in the game. And the number 9 hitter is Coy Shear, and they call a balk. Willenborg scores from third base. Let's see if we can pick up that balk.
Yeah, I think Austin Boyd didn't come completely set. You know, you've got to have the old 1001 count, and it didn't look like he came completely set. Just kind of fired it in there.
And that was before the balk was, or that was after the balk was called. Ball 1 here to Shear, missing. 1 ball and no strikes. Shear 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts.
Now you've got to be able to come completely set for a full second. That's where the balk usually is called.
So Willenborg scores the 8th run of the ball game for West. That's in for a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. So Cepeda moves up to third, and Barton goes to second. The lead is now 5 for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, it's just
Rather,
a killer.
for the Trojans. The lead is 5 for the Trojans.
When you follow up a strikeout with a balk.
Yeah, because at that point it was still a 4-run game, and you're trying to, you got just 1 more out because the Trojans did not put the ball in play with less than 2 outs and a runner at third. But it's just as good as the balk serves. Full count, 3-2. Baseball's
a game where the miscues, they add up. You make 5 errors and have a walk, you're not going to win many games.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Shearer, and it is lifted high to the right field side. Chafin, the new right fielder, making the play. The starting pitcher now in right field, Chafin, and that'll do it in the top of the 6th. West adds on an insurance run without the benefit of a hit, Jeff. That one has got to hurt if you're a Sweeny Bulldog fan. 2 errors, and 2 men left on. Great hustle in right field by Taylor Chafin, making the play in foul territory, and it was the 3rd out of the inning. 8-3 West, middle of the 6th. Little Van Halen here this afternoon. Jeff, gotta love it. State semifinals, a very hot day here in Central Texas. 8-3 West, the first state semifinal game here today. The second one will be coming up at 4 o'clock Central Time with Robinson and Pleasant Grove, which is a little bit more than an hour from now.
Yeah, Sweeney scored 3 in the first, as you see, and then back came West with 2 in the second, 2 in the third, 3 more in the fourth, and now an insurance run in the 6th inning for the 8-3 lead. Might have seen the bubble over there on our introductory shot here to the inning. Good day to be in the bubble, but not too bad to be outside as well. We've had warmer days for the state tournament, I promise you.
And maybe more to come. This is the first day of the state tournament, as Trevor Rowlett, the first baseman, stands into the batter's box, sitting in the number 7 spot, struck out to end the first and struck out to lead off the 4th against Colby Carpenter, now in his 6th inning of work. Carpenter at this point, 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. It's a strike on the outer half of the plate. It's even at 1-1.
I'd like to say special thanks to all our servicemen and women out there today. Of course, June 6th, D-Day, 1944. We do appreciate your service.
Absolutely. Rowlett is down in the count 1-2. Carpenter, boy, let that one just fly.
Pretty acrobatic catch right there by the catcher.
Robble getting way out of the chute on that one, huh?
Yeah.
2-2. And it stays high on a breaking ball. Try to get that slider over, and he missed high with it.
You don't want to lead off the inning with a walk, even if it is an 8-3 lead.
Still holding at 3-2.
I think you have to remember, as a pitcher, they can't put the tying run at the plate until they at least score. So the last thing you want to do is just put a man on.
Into left center, Yannick, the center fielder, making the play. Rowlett retired. 1 away in the bottom of the 6th.
Rowlett with some pretty good size. Batting .346, and that'll bring in Richards, who's batting .256.
Today he's 0 for 1. Ground ball to the shortstop. Paxton also walked in the 4th. Again, a lot of credit goes to Colby Carpenter. Maybe nerves to start the ball game. Allowed 3 runs on 3 hits to the Bulldogs, and they haven't had a lick since. Into center, and that's the 7th hit by Sweeney.
You jinxed Carpenter right there.
Richards, 1 out single. Kyle Klutz third base coach and the head coach, Scott Carter, flashing the signs over to his runner at first, Richards. Carpenter. It's a foul ball and a good play by Scott Carter, who has won 2 state championships in his coaching career. He was a state champion in '92 and in '93 over at Sacred Heart High School when he was living in Louisiana. Trying to win his first state championship here in Texas. To the third baseman, Radke. Goes to second for 1. On to first, and that's an airmail throw by Barton, the second baseman. But they get 1 out. And the Klutz bounces into a fielder's choice as Richards is retired 5-4.
Talk about Scott Carter. He went to Henderson State University up in Arkansas. He's done a fine job here. 31 wins so far this season for Sweeney. 31-2. West, of course, with 31 wins as well. They do have 8 losses. Corey Beckham, he went to Howard Payne University. Beckham doing a fine job with the West Trojans this year as their head coach.
Travis Johnson, who started the game in center field, moved to shortstop, is now back in at center field. And Johnson takes a pitch low, going to second base. On the steal is Klutz.
Yeah, it appeared right there like a little trouble getting that ball out of his glove was Crable there. Sometimes that catcher's mitt just will swallow up a baseball.
Inside to Travis Johnson.
You know, you want that padding for your hand, but sometimes it acts like a sponge and kind of sucks that ball in.
Yeah. Look back to second to 2-0. Carpenter gets a strike called. How do you feel if you're Robinson or Pleasant Grove watching who you're going to possibly play? Ball gets away from the catcher, and moving up to third is Klutz.
I think you watch it like it's any other baseball game. You're not really too concerned about this game on the field. You're only thinking about your game coming up.
But also with that, the anxiety of waiting to get out there and play on the field. I mean, you're just sitting there. A lot of nervous energy for those kids, you know?
I know Robinson said they were going to be here around 11:30.
To the third baseman, Radke, and he will go over to first as the hitter Johnson is retired, and that will retire the side. As West leads by 5, we go to the 7th here on Fox Sports Southwest. Gerald Sanchez along with Jeff Power. The UIL State Championships presented by State Farm from Dish Falk Field. The 3A State semifinal has the West Trojans over the Sweeny Bulldogs by a score of 8-3. And some of the other games, Jeff, from the tournament, from 1A on to 5A. I know you already had one final.
Yeah, Price Carlisle taking on Fayetteville earlier in the semifinals in Class 1A. And, that was a tight game, 5-4. I believe Fayetteville won. I'll double check that.
9 runs, or rather 9 hits for West, compared to 7 hits for Sweeney. 5 errors though for Sweeney. That one is going to really hurt, especially when you give up those extra outs. For West to lead it off will be the pitcher, Colby Carpenter, who has had a ball game, and we expected him, with the stars to shine. And now Carpenter heading to Oklahoma with a 2-run single in the second inning. Also has 2 walks, and he's done a great job on the mound, holding the Sweeny Bulldog team to 3 runs on 7 hits.
To answer your question, Fayetteville did win that game 5-4. They scored 5 runs in the last 2 innings to defeat the Indians of Carlisle 5-4, who had their best season
into left. It's up. It's up against the wall. For a moment, you might have thought that Carpenter might have had a home run and make it an even 50, but that is a double from Colby Carpenter.
And you know Carpenter wants to go deep here. He's got 49 home runs on the season, in his career, which is a new 3A record. But he looked like he really got this one. But that ball hung up there in left center.
That was a fastball, and he turned Boyd's fastball inside out.
Against the 375 sign out there.
Dylan Yannick, center fielder. And running at second base is Cole Anderson for Carpenter. That is a courtesy runner. Cole Anderson at second. Into left. They're going to stop the runner, Anderson at third. Yannick, his second hit of the ball game, the 11th hit for the West Trojans.
Nice piece of hitting right there by Dylan Yannick. Good hard hit. You can just hear it ring throughout the stadium. Nice solid hit. 2 on, nobody out.
Mason Paxton, who has been tough, 3 for 4. First 3 at-bats were hits. He's also scored 2 runs, also has an RBI. Austin Boyd's job is clear cut and simple. No runs allowed. That's a strike in there. No balls and 1 strike.
Paxton coming into this game, as we mentioned, batting .471, well above that now with 3 hits in this one.
Into right. Chafin makes the catch. The runner tags from third, and it's up the third base line. The run scores. Anderson makes it 9-3 Trojans. Paxton, his second RBI of the ball game.
And that's the job right there for Paxton. Bring home that runner from third. Hit that ball, not right on the screws, but did a nice job of hitting that ball out to right field. And that's the idea.
And they have done that time and time again, Jeff. Just going to the opposite field, putting the ball in play. Holden Sikora, the DH, and that is a strike in there.
When you go opposite field, you've got that extra split second to hit the ball. You're not trying to pull it. Hit it where it's pitched. And West has done a fine job of that today.
Sikora with 1 RBI today. Gets a hit here. Going from first to third is Yannick, and he's in there without a throw.
Sikora hit that one hard. Yannick winds up at third on the play. And that was just beyond Michael Farrell's glove. I thought Michael was going to be able to catch that one, but it just went above his leather glove.
Sikora with his second hit of the ball game. A very close play at second. Almost making that play is Farrell, but it was hit too hard into right center field. No runners on the corners, with West leading by 6. And looking for more with Justin Cepeda, the right fielder.
And Sikora, being a left-handed batter, took that inside pitch and just drove it to right field.
Ball 1 from Austin Boyd, a junior who has been undefeated this year on the mound at 6-0. In relief, the third pitcher to be used by Scott Carter following Chafin and Lemus. Also a new center fielder is Wade Franklin. Wade Franklin coming in for Travis Johnson. And he will bat in Johnson's spot in the top of the order. Breaking ball inside. And Cepeda's got a count of 2 balls and 1 strike. Cepeda reached on an error by the second baseman Farrell in the second. That was a tough error, the backhanded play, but they ruled it an error. Scored a run on the single by Barton. 2-1. And did he go around? They say yes. 2-2. Also a walk. Sack bunt. So today he is 0 for 2.
You know, when you look at this West lineup, I've only got a couple players batting in the 300 range and 1 over 400.
A swinging bunt. Third baseman Richards is going to have to eat the ball. He can't get it out of his glove in enough time to make the throw. Of course, he was playing back a little bit, and Cepeda gets the RBI infield single.
First baseman, number 9, Evan Eubanks.
But they do good situational hitting. I mean, they hit the ball where it's pitched. They put the ball in play. Good things happen when you do that.
Yannick scores from third, making it 10-3 inside a ball. And time is called as Scott Carter is going to take his time, go to the mound. Now the 10-run rule situation will start to come into play because that third run at the plate would enter as the 10th run rule. The 10-run rule, as we are in the top of the 7th inning with 2 runs. Beg your pardon, there is no 10-run rule. 7th inning, we're only playing a 7-inning ball game.
Colby Carpenter batting .353 coming into the series. Definitely the leading hitter, but Mason Paxton's got a .471 average. I mean, Carpenter may have the most home runs, with 49 now in his career, but Paxton's done a nice job showing what he can do. Of course, Dylan Yannick batting .330, Holden Sikora batting .328, Alex Barton at .311. The rest of the guys all below that, though, in the 200 to even 100 range. They just do a nice job with situational hitting the ball where it's pitched, moving runners over. They make you make errors.
New pitcher is Trevor Rowlett. He comes in. Rowlett is the first baseman, now the new pitcher.
Moving from pitcher to first base, number 25, Austin Boyd. Boyd, pitcher to first base. Moving from first base and now pitching for the Bulldogs, number 23, Trevor Rowlett.
For Rowlett is 7-0 on the season. Just Sweeney with 2 losses all year long. One of them belonging to Michael Farrell, the other Jordan Lemus.
When you look at the overall game, the fact that, West trailed early on 3-0, didn't lose their composure. They held their own. Mason Paxton with 3 hits in the game has really stood out. Of course, Colby Carpenter hasn't allowed a run since that very first inning and has done a nice job at the plate as well with a couple of power alley shots, driven in a couple of runs. West in a position here to perhaps claim a state championship. Of course, Robinson High School out of the Waco area, not too far from West on I-35. Pleasant Grove up near Texarkana, and a good game coming up here at 4 o'clock after this one.
Now the Region 2 and Region 3 representatives will play against each other. This is the Region 1 and 4 representatives. 1 ball, no strikes to Evan Eubanks.
This shows you how far that Region 1 has to go east when you think about it. West is located on I-35, just south of Fort Worth, but yet they're in Region 1, which is predominantly a western region of the state.
Up the middle, and that's fielded by the shortstop onto first, and what a double play.
Yeah, nice job right there, and that kind of gives you an idea when you can make the play. Just go ahead and fire it over there. You never know, you might get him, and sure enough, they did. We'll see if Sweeney can maybe take that and produce some runs now, but we'll take a look at the play one more time here. It looked like just for a split second that Martin may not throw that ball to first, but he did, and it was a good choice.
I like the way that Farrell threw that ball in his back leg. It was very nice. Good arm strength. 10-3. 3 more outs for Sweeney in their season. Get to the bottom of the 7th. Colby Carpenter, 3 outs away from pitching his team into the state championship game tomorrow evening. The first pitch to the shortstop, Jordan Lemus, a ball.
Yeah, Carpenter inside on this one as well. 2-0 count. This one's coming right down the middle. And a bit low.
Lemus, Simpson, and then Boyd. The 3 that are due for the Bulldogs to try to extend the game and extend the season. Barton to first, 1 away.
So Barton taking care of the routine 4-3 putout right there. 96 degrees, 3:13 in the afternoon. Wind slightly blowing out, maybe left center. Hasn't really been a factor. But West closing in on a state finals appearance.
Simpson intentionally walked in the first, scored a run, hit by a pitch in the third, and then grounded to the second baseman Barton with the pitcher Colby Carpenter covering over at first.
Colby Carpenter wearing that number 23. You often will see, usually the best athlete on the team will grab number 23, a la Michael Jordan. They like that number.
I thought they did it for Ryan Sandberg.
Could be Ryan Sandberg. I doubt it, though.
Another Chicago athlete, right?
Sure.
Probably just a cramp for Carpenter. He was shaking his leg out there.
Don't want to take any chances with a 10-3 lead.
West beating Snyder in the first 2 games, Burlington Centennial in the regional quarterfinals. Then the Lubbock Cooper, you had talked about that ball game, a thrilling game in the regional semifinals.
Yeah, 7-6. West won that game over Cooper. Corey Beckham told us it was probably the most challenging game of the season. Cooper with a fine baseball club this year, but a kind of a 1-game only deal. You know, at one point in Region 1, there was a weekend where 5 teams had to take a 3-game series and turn it into a 1-game series because of the rain.
That is the first hit of the ball game for Simpson. It goes to the wall, and Simpson will go to third. And he gallops in there without a throw.
Yeah, Simpson hit that ball all the way to the wall. It just kind of had eyes and just kept on rolling. Simpson winds up at third. He is the catcher. Corey intentionally walked, hit by a pitch, and now drives one to the gap. And he's on with a triple. That ball just kept on rolling, didn't it? Mm-hmm. Amazing that turf. It won't slow the ball down too much.
Yeah, and he has done what West has been doing all game long, is just don't try to pull the ball, just go with it. Austin Boyd now the first baseman, diving stop by the first baseman Radke, the throw to first. And Radke, who is making his first start over at third for West, making a great play.
And he appears to be injured on the play as well, grabbing his shoulder. Anytime you make that kind of extension, that dive, you do occasionally worry about, the joints and in this case the shoulder area.
5-3 on the out of Boyd, and then now West is just 1 out away from going to the state championship game. Want to see that good play at third base again. That was down the line by the hitter Boyd. And Radke making the diving stop. Little surprised that Simpson stayed put over at third base.
Yeah, Ryan Radke over here at third. Let's see what happened. This ball swung on, hit towards third. Radke making the diving grab behind the bag, gets up, makes the throw. Look at that throw right there, but you could tell right away he went down to his knees. He was in some pain. What a nice throw to first for the putout. Considering that he was obviously already in pain before throwing the ball.
Getting back to West's playoff run, they beat Lubbock Cooper over at McMurray University. And then defeating Andrews. And remember, you had talked about that all these teams that are in the state tournament here had to have some kind of comeback in the postseason. Well, that was the case for West.
By the way, Radke leaving the game right now, kind of grabbing his left shoulder area, it appeared. But West has been challenged this year. They've battled through a tough district. They've done a nice job. As we had mentioned, 31 victories on the season. They do play in a very tough District 8 3A. 31-8 on the year, trying to go to 32-8. They're 1 out away from fulfilling their dreams of reaching the state championship game.
Coy Scherer goes in and plays third base. Here is the right fielder, Kaylor Chafin, who started the ball game. Foul ball over to the right side. He started the game, and then he moved into center and then into right. He made a great play in right field in foul territory. Robbing Coy Scherer, the third baseman now, of another, at least to see a pitch. Here it's no balls and 2 strikes. Colby Carpenter just 1 strike away from trying to finish off the Sweeny Bulldogs. And the 0-2. A little amped up there. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Carpenter's done a nice job on the mound. Again, has not allowed a run since the first inning when he gave up 3. Has had a couple of big hits.
And that's the ball game. Colby Carpenter with the big hug of his catcher, Jacob Harble. And the West Trojans advance to play for their second state championship in their school history tomorrow evening.
A great performance there by Carpenter, allowing only 3 runs, 8 hits. West wins it 10-3 behind 13 hits. Good situational hitting the ball where it's pitched. West deserves to be in the championship game.
We'll be back. 10-3, the final. West wins it here on Fox Sports Southwest. The final score here in the first of the 2-3A state semifinals belongs to the West Trojans. Gerald Sanchez back here with Jeff Power in complete domination. After the first inning, Sweeney took a 3-0 lead, but then after that, it was all West.
Yeah, West just took advantage from that point on. They win it 10-3, picking up 13 hits. I was really impressed with their situational hitting the ball opposite field. Did a nice job all day long hitting the ball where it was pitched. It was like a clinic.
And how about Colby Carpenter on the mound after getting a little bit of jitters out of the way after the first inning, really settled down and pitched very well for his ball club.
Yeah, he certainly did. Didn't feel the pressure being down 3-0 after one inning. Just got right back out there. I think getting the double that drove in a couple of runs for him was sort of lifted him up, made him realize right there, okay, I've helped my own cause here. We're back in the game. We're only down 3-2. And then they just kind of took it from there. Got the 2 runs the next inning, another couple runs after that. Before you know it, he's pitching with a pretty big lead, and it's so much easier to pitch with a lead when you've got the kind of stuff he's got. I mean, 49 home runs in his career, but let's not forget now 41 victories on that mound.
That's true. He gets the complete game victory. He pitches his team into the state championship game, and they'll play either Pleasant Grove or Robinson, which is coming up next here on Fox Sports Southwest, and we'll have that for you. Again, the final score, the West Trojans 10 and the Sweeny Bulldogs 3. We'll be back for that second game here shortly.
Head coach of the